Welcome to Rooted in Retirement with Zach Gray. Zach is the founder of Rooted Wealth Advisors and is one of the nation's leading financial advisors, helping people answer some of retirement's biggest questions, covering topics like income, taxes, and Social Security.
So this is a place where we have to be really concerned about how much of this money am I going to keep?
Zach is here to make sure you can enjoy the retirement you deserve. This is Rooted in Retirement with Zach Gray.
Welcome to Rooted in Retirement. Today we are tackling something we know a lot of people feel. Financial advising sometimes gets a bad reputation, from hidden fees to confusing jargon. It's no wonder people are hesitant to trust someone with their financial future. For too long, the financial industry has felt like it's shrouded in secrecy, making it hard for people to truly trust their advisors. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm Kelly Dame, and today Zach Gray is going to turn the industry on its head, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at what a fiduciary advisor should be doing for you. Whether it's managing risk, building an income plan, or keeping things transparent every step of the way. And when we say behind the scenes, we really mean that today, Zach.
That's right, Kelly. At Rooted Wealth, we believe that retirement planning shouldn't be complicated or impersonal. We believe that your advisor should be a true partner, not just someone that shows up every now and again. So today we're diving into what it really means to put you, the client, first. That's actually why we're in our home office today and not some fancy studio. So let's break down those walls and show you exactly what to expect from your financial co-pilot on this journey. Imagine that you're about to take a long flight, and surprise, you are the pilot.
Give way to Spirit, straight down November 30, Yankee Envoy 3494.
That could be very overwhelming for the majority of us, especially if you don't have the right training. And that is the way that I see handling a lot of your retirement finances, moving into your retirement years. As we move into retirement, many times we've been able to take care of our investment strategies over the years. Maybe it's just a 401k that we had at the workplace, and we've handled all these pieces on our own. The question becomes, do you need to have a co-pilot alongside you for that retirement journey? And, I think that co-pilot is someone that needs to take a look at all pieces of your retirement picture. Having the right co-pilot, in my opinion, the right fiduciary advisor alongside you is incredibly important. With this plane behind me, I'm reminded of a quick story. A couple years ago, I needed to get down to St. Louis from central Illinois, and I needed to do it quickly. I had to get back for a blessing for our children at the church. So, lucky for me, I was able to call one of my great clients, Jeff, can you get me down there? And sure, he could. At the end of that event, though, he called. He said, Zach, we need to probably hurry up. There's a storm that's rolling in. Simply put, I got moving. We take off. Everything seems to be smooth sailing. I thought, what storm? But pretty soon I could see the skies that were starting to darken up. We hit some turbulence. It might have only been a few inches, but to me, it felt like we had fallen 10, 20, 30 feet in a moment's notice. That storm happens to be approaching a little faster than what we thought. At that point, I can tell you that I was extremely grateful for Jeff, all of his years of experience, and making sure that he was able to take the reins and get us home safely. Ironically, when we got close to home, we realized that the storms were so bad that we were going to have to land the plane in Indiana, of all places, not even the state that we wanted to land in. But taking that detour was incredibly important, primarily for our safety. We were able to get back home very quickly thereafter as the storm passed. There's a couple takeaways here. Number one, having the right person in the cockpit with you, it's incredibly, incredibly important. Making sure that you have a fiduciary advisor that's working in your best interests, not their own. Very, very important. And also, sometimes you're going to have to navigate a different direction. We weren't necessarily wanting to land in Indiana, but it was the right thing to do in that moment. As the storm passed, we were able to get back home safely. Life went on, and everything was just fine. And as I think about the different even types of co-pilots or advisors that are out there, we tend to think of this in really kind of these three tiers, if you will. Sometimes I look at a captive advisor Maybe this advisor can only represent one certain company or only a certain set of tools in the toolbox for themselves. That sometimes is concerning to me, frankly. The next level I would consider to be maybe more of a financial planner or financial advisor. This person might have some different tools in the toolbox. Maybe it's a wirehouse type of example. But once again, they might not be looking at all pieces, is what we call these 5 worlds that we talk about quite often. Looking at income planning, looking at taxes, maybe healthcare or legacy planning. They're really only focused on the investment side of that picture. The top tier is what I consider to be a wealth advisor. At Rooted Wealth Advisors, we believe in taking a look at that comprehensive picture, all of those moving parts, all of those pieces, to make sure that it's a smooth and safe landing, that it's a great journey. Yes, there's going to be turbulence. The market's going to go up, and it is going to go down. The past has taught us that. Do you have the right portfolio built? Do you have the right tools in place? If you don't know the answer to those questions, I invite you into a conversation. Our team of fiduciary advisors would love to start that conversation. Make sure you have the right plan in place, and to make sure to take a second look at what you've worked so hard for. So, Kelly, what I would say is it's really important to have that right co-pilot alongside, making sure to take a look at all of those moving parts to make sure we have that safe landing. Back to you.
Yeah, Zach, that story, my heart was pounding. So to start the conversation on building your custom retirement roadmap, call, text, or scan the QR code on your screen to schedule a call with a Rooted fiduciary advisor. There's no cost to do so, and they would be honored to review your situation. So go ahead, give them a call at 855-955-6868. Again, that number is 855-955-6868. Coming up, Zach is headed back out. He's in the wilderness now to help you tackle some of the most strenuous factors that come into play in your retirement and can cause you to drain your savings too quickly. Rooted in Retirement continues right after this.
We are a proud sponsor of the University of Illinois in Fighting Illini Athletics. And as I think back to my time spent here on the gridiron, I'm reminded of the values and the hard work ethic that served me so well. And it serves Rooted Wealth Advisors and our clients today. I'm also reminded of making sure to get that game plan correct, going into the game on Saturday, making sure that you're getting that plan put together going into those retirement years to live out that best retirement. If you want some help coaching along the way, we would love to lean in.
All right, let's talk about taxes. Now, Zach, first of all, you look very prepared out there. So we know taxes can be confusing. What is the first thing people should know when planning for taxes in retirement?
Thanks, Kelly. You know, think of tax planning like a hiking challenge. Some things are going to be easy. Some paths are going to be smooth sailing. There's going to be others that are rocky and unpredictable. And that can be a lot like your hard-earned money. You can pull from some accounts and everything's easy. Taxes are already paid, something like a Roth IRA, for example. Others, they can be a bit unpredictable. What are tax rates going to be in the future when you pull from your old 401k or traditional IRA? That's important that you take a look at those things and lay out a strategy that best suits you. You know, over the last few years, I've had the ability to do 2 hiking challenges. And the first one, I can tell you I made a big mistake. I did not work any of the training plan. I thought, how hard can this be? I was just going to go up and down a mountain to the tune of about 29,000 feet. I tell you, after that first trek, I was gassed. And I thought, there's no way that I'm going to be able to finish this. I was able to push through, but it was far from perfect. That second one, I made sure not to make that same mistake. I made sure to work that training plan and to put in the time, put in the hours, have the strategy in place. And it served me very well. Well, once again, this correlates to that hard-earned money that you've saved. You know, first off, answering the type of question of what type of funds do I even have is important. My first book became an Amazon bestseller pretty quickly because I think that it broke down some of these tough to understand concepts, one of which is tax planning. In one chapter, we talked a lot about what I call the tax buckets. these three categories, if you will, when it comes to taxes on your investments. One bucket being a taxable bucket. Hey, as it grows, I got to pay some tax on that growth. One being a tax deferred bucket. I got a tax deduction when it went into that old 401k or traditional IRA, but I'll have to pay taxes on all the principal and all the growth when I pull those funds out. Tax-free dollars would be something like maybe a Roth or something maybe even life insurance based. My question to you is where does your money sit? If you're like most Americans, the largest bucket that you have, especially if you include a pension that you're yet to be taxed on, is that tax deferred bucket. And my question to you is well, will your taxes be lower in the future or potentially higher? And what we tend to find is that we believe that they will be so much lower in retirement. Well, typically that not be the case. And if you happen to be married watching this, keep in mind that if God forbid something were to happen and you become widowed, you now go from a married filing joint status to a single taxpayer status. Yet again, another large shift. My plea to you is to understand what type of path are you on? What type of strategies do you need to implement? Something like an SRT or strategic Roth transfer is something that is critically important in our planning, or thinking about becoming more efficient in some of the other buckets as well. So as you think about taxes, keep in mind, it's all about keeping more of that hard-earned money of your own in your own pocket. Kelly, back to you.
Stay safe, Zach, and call us if you need anything. Speaking of calling, want to learn how to manage your tax buckets? Call, text, or scan the QR code for a complimentary call with Zach's fiduciary advisor team for personalized tax strategy review in the Rooted Retirement Roadmap process that includes their free tax reduction report. It doesn't matter if you've saved $500,000, $2 million, or $10 million plus for retirement. Don't miss this opportunity. Remember, there is no cost or obligation. Call 855-955-6868. Don't hesitate to dial now. Straight ahead, Zach is back in the office with the Rooted Wealth Advisor team from all over the country, here to answer the leading industry questions. You don't want to miss it. Welcome to the Retirement Roundtable. Zach is back, fresh off the trail, and now joining his team of fiduciary advisors from the Rooted Wealth Advisors team. Gentlemen, it's great to see all of you.
Thank you, Kelly. I have the majority of our advisor team with us from all around the country, and we are ready to tackle some of the most common retirement questions that we get. So I'd love to hear from each one of you. John, let's kick it off with you.
Zach, grateful to be here, especially to bring relevance and value to our viewers. One of the most common questions that I'm typically getting is with regard to fees. And you see, oftentimes, a lot of those folks just have no clue what fees they're even being charged and what the structure of those fees. And you see, even a 1% difference can end up costing thousands of dollars, and really understanding the negative impact that can have on one's retirement goals and dreams. And as I mentioned, just the fees, the structure, just having an analysis done, I think is really important, and one of the great things that we do here at Rooted Wealth Advisors. And when we run that analysis, what I find is those that are sitting across from us are like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. My advisor didn't tell me that. So one of the things that we're super proud of here at Rooted Wealth Advisors is that we bring clarity and transparency to not only the fees that they're currently paying, but the fees that they would pay working with us.
Yeah, John, I appreciate you sharing that. This is really where I think that we're flipping the industry on its head here and giving that transparency and giving some insight to really what is going on in someone's portfolio. You know, Joe, let's kick it over to you. What is your hot take right now on the industry and maybe how we do things a little differently here at Rooted Wealth?
Yeah, thanks for having us all, Zach. So a question that I've been getting a lot more from folks when I sit down with them is, hey, I've got a current advisor, I've got a plan in place, and all the simulations say I'm going to be okay. What makes what you do at Rooted different? Our plans are custom built, Zach, and tailored to each individual or couple's own goals, hopes, and dreams for retirement. Our planning team and our trading team takes a hands-on, granular approach to that plan and tailors it around those unique goals, hopes, and dreams. Our world is rapidly changing around us, and a plan should not be set it and forget it. Confidence in the attention to detail and the team approach is what sets us apart in the industry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing, and I think that that's critically important. I mean, there's just a lot going on, which, well, once again, is why you need to have that tailored plan, and it just can't be put on a shelf somewhere and tucked away. So, Connor, as you see a lot of folks out west in our Denver market, they're smart, they're savvy folks. What are you seeing out there for some questions, some concerns of theirs? Really, what's crossing your desk?
I think that's a really loaded question. But I would challenge a lot of folks to question what they're getting from their financial advisor. I know I can speak for all of us when maybe some folks come into our office who have an advisor and they're only talking to their advisor about one thing and one thing only, and that's return. And I say, well, what else does your advisor help with? And they say, well, at our annual review, we talk if I was made money or I lost money, and he'll tell me, hey, I hope you're happy, or hey, maybe you should stick it out for a little bit longer and don't worry, things will be okay. But we approach things from a more holistic standpoint, right? The CFP standard, I call it, and that's really looking at least the 5 basic elements of any good financial plan, right? We want to look at income, we want to look at taxes, legacy, investments, and healthcare, right? Don't get me wrong, investments is an important piece of the puzzle. It's why, Zach and our team is so heavily invested in our investment, in our trading team. But we really want to make sure that we're thinking through those 5 areas, being a holistic advisor, and unfortunately, a lot of industry is just missing the boat.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think, it goes back to that word of integrity that we throw around the office here quite a bit, and making sure that we're doing the right thing for the client, making sure that folks are working with that fiduciary advisors like each one of you all. As you think about your own plan, is it something that maybe has been sitting on the shelf too long? Have you covered all of those 5 areas that CFP standard is based around? Do you have that fiduciary advisor like the Rooted Wealth team working on a plan for you that's transparent, where you know the fees and you understand all of those moving components and how they work together? That's a question that I challenge you to answer as you're watching the show today, as you're thinking through your own retirement. And if you're near or in those retirement years, we would love that opportunity to just have a chat, see if we can visit and uncover some of these needs that we've discussed on the roundtable today. Kelly, back to you.
Yeah, and I am blessed with a host of notes from that. So thank you so much for sharing that knowledge. Great insight. And thank you for taking the time to be here today as well. One thing that you can count on from the Rooted Wealth Advisors team, they are committed to helping people just like you with your retirement planning. In fact, the team has rounded up the most valuable tools that they use for their clients, and we'd like to offer it to you today and show you the tax savings that the team could potentially generate. It's simple. Just scan the QR code on the screen, text or call 855-955-6868. Again, that number is 855-955-6868. Now, don't go anywhere. Zach has the tips and tricks coming up on how to get an accurate temperature check on your portfolio right after this.
Looking for a podcast that's more than just talk? Digging In, hosted by Rooted Wealth Advisors, brings you bi-weekly episodes packed with financial insights, real-life case studies, and a behind-the-scenes look at the Rooted Wealth Advisors team. Get to know the people guiding you to and through retirement and the strategies they trust. Catch Digging In on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Subscribe today and start digging deeper into your financial future.
Welcome back to the studio, to you and to you at home. We're going to pivot and talk about risk tolerance now. And Zach, you say that it's important to think about this almost like a temperature check. How so?
Well, retirement, it's a time to be thinking about diversification of your portfolio, making sure that it's built properly. But I'm not talking just the investments in your portfolio. I'm talking about the risk of those respective investments. We need to be thinking about how much heat do you want to withstand in your portfolio. So, Kelly, do you happen to have one of these laying around the house?
We do, maybe 2 or 3. They always go missing.
I know. Today, it's a lot more technology. This is a thermometer for those of you that might be watching saying, what is that in his hands? You know, they have some today, Kelly, where you just hold it up to the forehead, and this one here's for the ears. But I think what's important to note here in this is that it always seems to me that when I think about temperatures, I can't help think of my 4 kids. And it's always the end of the day where things seem to be a problem.
Always.
It's always that way. It's the pediatrician's closing, or maybe it's a weekend, right? Even better, it's a Saturday and you're juggling. Do we call? Do we not call? Because we know that they're closed the next day. The reason I bring this up is this, is as you think about the risk of your portfolio, it's incredibly important to think about how much risk do you want to take and where are you at in the point of your day or in your working career. Are you at the point that's early on where, hey, we've got plenty of time to make adjustments. We've got different medicines or different tactics that we can use. Or are you at the point where it's kind of the end of the day, Kelly, where it's going, oh goodness, now we've only got so much time before the doctors close, or it's almost the weekend, wouldn't you know it, they're going to be closed. Those are the times that you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions, that you are making the right judgment calls. And what I will tell you, at least in our family, is that we're planning for that several hours in advance. To use this correlation to your retirement, you need to be thinking about that, in my opinion, several years in advance, making sure that you're tailoring a portfolio that is built the proper way for your retirement picture. Because what I am telling you is that you need to think about the confidence of that build out of that portfolio. That's incredibly important. Other folks might not be thinking so much about that. I'm thinking about risk of all of those moving parts and pieces. You need to have the confidence that you can weather the ups, of course, but more importantly, the downs. And that is incredibly important as you think about risk of the portfolio, staying away from something that we call sequence of return risk in the portfolio. And that is something that we make sure to analyze as a part of our rooted retirement process.
I love it's also about taking the guesswork out of the, how high is the mercury? I don't know. Is it a temperature? Is it not?
Exactly.
Those old school stick thermometers. All right, Zach, thank you. Well, curious about your risk level. Call us today for a custom risk assessment as a part of our rooted retirement process. There's no cost or obligation to do so. Give us a call at 855-955-6868. Again, that number is 855-955-6868. There's no time to waste. Call now. Well, you won't want to miss this next segment. Zach is heading out to his old stomping grounds, literally. The insights on building your retirement game plan for a winning season, that's next.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement? No one can avoid taxes completely, but with the right strategies in place, you could potentially reduce your taxes in retirement. And reducing your taxes means more of your hard-earned money right back in your pocket. Call now for your free tax reduction report to uncover your future tax savings.
Today, we're here at the University of Illinois, my alma mater, where I played football on a scholarship many moons ago. And being here in Memorial Stadium brings back a lot of memories. My teammates, my coaching staff, playing on the turf on Saturdays. And you know, as I walked here, I passed the practice fields and I couldn't help but think of the amount of time spent, frankly, in practice or strategizing, watching game film. All of that time was substantially more than it was playing on Saturday afternoons here at Memorial Stadium. And I think there's a takeaway there as you think about your own retirement plan. Getting that foundation right, getting that game plan correct. And that game plan was something that was not just the offense, well, because without defense, well, you don't have much of a team. Oh, and what about the little things like special teams, that phase of the game? You have to make sure all phases of your retirement plan are put together. They're working together. And actually, my last book was built around this idea of what we call these 5 worlds of retirement planning. And looking at things like income planning. Do you have the income you need to sustain the lifestyle that you want to have? Maybe that's coming from your investments, so they need to be built the right way. What about taxes of those investments? Even thinking through things like healthcare, it's our number one cost in retirement. Or even legacy planning. How are we going to leave things for a spouse or another generation. Making sure that we have all phases covered is critically important because with just offense, you're probably not going to put the W up on the scoreboard. And so make sure that you're looking at all of these pieces, this comprehensive plan, and that's really what our Rooted Retirement process does. It takes a look at all of these aspects, making sure that they're working together simultaneously, and that, in my opinion, is what really delivers that win. What we see is that many advisors, they're just focused on maybe one of these 5 worlds. You might be sitting down with your advisor and all you're hearing about is returns. Maybe we're not even talking about fees. You definitely might not be thinking about income planning and how do you get the distributions you need. What about taxes? Is that only a CPA or accountant conversation? I tend to not think so. As I think about this comprehensive planning process, our Rooted Retirement process, and making sure that you're planning for all of these pieces is incredibly important to the success of you living that best retirement, that best version of the rest of your life. So as you start to think about that, my question to you is have you thought about all phases of the game? If you haven't, I invite you to a conversation with one of our fiduciary advisors to help us coach you, if you will, in those different phases that maybe you haven't thought about. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be in retirement, keep in mind, sometimes there's halftime adjustments that need to be made. It's not too late to get another second opinion, to get a glance at your plan and see if all of these pieces are working in harmony. Pick up the phone, give us a call. 855-955-6868 is the number. It's really that simple. You'll get connected with one of our fiduciary advisors with just a chance to chat, have a conversation, and we can see where we can lean in and help coach you. That number is 855-955-6868.
Zach, you have covered some miles today, my friend, and it has been a great journey. We've gone from taxes to income strategy and really covered the essentials for those who are wanting a secure retirement.
Absolutely. You know, at Rooted Wealth, we're here to help you find a path to your best retirement. We believe that you deserve world-class financial advice by fiduciary advisors with your best interest at heart and a team that knows you by name.
It's such a high standard of integrity for your team, Zach. So take that first step. Call, text, or scan the QR code to set a free call with one of the fiduciary advisors you met today. Zach and the team would love to help you get started on your retirement journey with a plan designed to help that journey flourish. For Zach and the team at Rooted Wealth Advisors, I'm Kelly Dame. We look forward to seeing you next time on Rooted in Retirement.